SpaceX launched the first television broadcast satellite under SES' C-band clearing plan June 29 from Cape Canaveral in Florida. A Falcon 9 rocket lifted off at 5:04 p.m. Eastern carrying the SES-22 satellite, which will help SES reap billions of dollars from vacating C-band frequencies for U.S. 5G networks. SES-22 separated from the rocket in geostationary transfer orbit about 33 minutes later. The Falcon 9's reusable first stage successfully landed on a SpaceX drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean following the launch. The booster previously supported a mission in May for Starlink, SpaceX's broadband megaconstellation. SES-22 is the first to launch of 6 geostationary satellites that SES ordered to migrate broadcast customers into a narrower swath of C-band. SES and other C-band holders are in line for $9.7 billion in total from the Federal Communications Commission if they meet its deadlines for clearing 300 MHz of the spectrum. The 3,500 kg SES-22 satellite was built by Thales Alenia Space, which is also constructing the company's SES-23°C band replacement satellite. Northrop Grumman and Boeing are also building 2 C-band satellites apiece for SES. United Launch Alliance is slated to launch 2 SES C-band replacement satellites in the third quarter of 2022, and SpaceX is due to deploy another 2 later in the year. The 6th satellite is being used as a ground spare, SES said June 24. It remains on track to meet the FCC's December 2023 spectrum clearing deadline. SES and Intelsat, which together hold the largest share of C-band in the United States, successfully unlocked more than $2 billion in combined proceeds from meeting an initial FCC milestone last year. Intelsat and SES will get a total $4.9 billion and $3.97 billion, respectively, under the FCC's plan. However, the satellite operators remain locked in a long-running legal dispute over their share of the proceeds. The dispute stems from Intelsat's withdrawal from their C-band alliance, where SES says the competitors agreed to split proceeds from clearing the spectrum evenly. Intelsat argues their agreement was no longer applicable when the FCC decided to hold a public auction of C-band spectrum, rather than a private process run by the C-band alliance. Intelsat ordered 7 satellites for its C-band clearing plan and has lined up Arianespace and SpaceX for launches starting in 2022. Maxar Technologies is building 4 C-band replacement satellites for Intelsat, and Northrop Grumman is constructing the other 2. None of the 7 are intended to be ground spares. Galaxy 33 and Galaxy 34, Intelsat's first 2 C-band replacement satellites, are due to launch on a Falcon 9 from Cape Canaveral in October. SES-22 is expected to start operations by early August 2022, they added. SES-22's launch was the 27th of the year for SpaceX and the 161st flight of a Falcon 9 overall. It was also the first of 2 planned liftoffs from American soil within about 8 hours of each other. SES-22 will be followed by Straight Up, a 7-satellite mission that Virgin Orbit plans to launch from Mojave Air and Spaceport in southeastern California. Straight Up was scheduled to lift off during a window that opens at 1 a.m. EDT on Thursday. You can watch that mission, which will employ Launcher 1, a rocket that ignites at altitude after being dropped by a carrier plane.